Next up, Mr. Fantastic. Low-key, Mr. Fantastic got nerfed, and I actually feel bad for him. You know what? I'm gonna take it one step further.
Mr. Fantastic. Very disappointed with the changes to Mr. Fantastic. I want to put him C because I feel like he got nerfed overall. Before he was in B. If he didn't get any nerfs, Mr. Fantastic could have been like high B.
I think Mr. Fantastic is just like bad. He kind of got nerfed. As I said, I spoke to the team captain a little bit about it. He thinks the hero got nerfed because they increased the cooldown on his back shots.
What? We're flying to Philadelphia! Oh, hell no! That's hell no! Whoa!
It's the Fantastic Four!
Perhaps we can still convince these victors.
Yo, check this shit out. Look in the bottom left of the screen. Ready? Fuck. Uh-oh. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it.
Kill it. He's going for me, man. Fuck off. Go, 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 go.
Oh, man. Nice. Got him. Alright, ready into the backline. Oh my. Strange, that was fucking crazy, bro. I'm gonna take this TP for the meme. For the lol. Guys, don't tell them. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. I'm gonna have to make a noise. They might hear it though. Maybe they think it came through the portal. Alright, we're going in. We got a pick. Nice. Alright, we did it, guys. The flank was successful.
How are they dead every fight, man? We're getting fucked in the ass by this Reed. I don't know how to spell virus.
I didn't do it for charity. Just gave them what they deserve.
What's he lived? How has he lived that? Oh. Chat, is that all good now? The fantastical? I think it is, right?
I do think Chasm's the bench warmer, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you this character is kinda slept on. This motherfucker is so close to getting the storm treatment of being slightly overbuffed and running the game, and Netties fucking know it. This video will be talking about how I personally found success playing the character, and a general guide on how to play him competitively, starting with a little theory I conjured up. And I warn you, it's a fantastic theory. Something we have all been blind to. What if the Fantastic Four were perfectly designed to fit together in a team comp? A perfect blend of abilities that just work. What if Mr. Fantastic's E got nerfed because something was added to the game? Something that gives you 30% damage reduction. Why not try putting that on a character that runs around with 1,000 hit points most of the time? And you're looking at some serious numbers. But you can use this backshot combo on any character, and like, you know, you can save a cloak and a dagger from a mag ult, or you could throw it on a Star-Lord when he's ulting. I think the Fantastic Four play a very interesting and dynamic team comp in the game. With the team up, each member effectively gets a personal soul bond. It regenerates lost HP into shields at a rate of 20 per second for a total of 5 seconds, and Soul Bond only heals for 15. Really think about it, these characters complement each other fantastically. We have the Human Torch with unreal damage output and best-in-class area denial. Alongside his newly buffed damage output, we could see a real comeback with this hero, or just maybe burst back, you know. And then you have Mr. Fantastic, pun literally not intended, one of the most flexible characters in the game. He can dive supports, heal and shield his backline. He has increased movement speed at times. He generates thousands of HP. He's got crazy displacement, and he's just amazing at taking space. The Thing will lock down movement characters and will help create incredible amounts of frontline pressure. Invisible Woman has a crazy push or pull, dragging and pushing people into a certain flame perhaps. The Torch will make up for any lacking DPS on the team, with his just general absurd damage numbers, and he'll soften targets up for the Brawl. You know, the Torch himself isn't really a stranger to large amounts of burst damage. He also kind of works as a beacon that Mr. Fantastic and the Thing can easily get to at all times. I'm looking for a 4. A Fantastic 4. I want the most cracked thing player, the hottest torch player, the most invisible woman, and the goddamn most flexible Mr. Fantastic the world has ever seen. I'm gonna take this shit to the hellhole that is season 1.5 Eternity. Fuck it, dude. I'd be down to like learn this shit, find a couple teammates to learn this shit, and I'll blow up a tournament. Send a message to all those free thinkers out there. Let's build a discussion around this in my Discord and in the comment section below. Do you guys think we're sleeping on a strat here? I kinda do, personally, you know? Mr. Fantastic's kit, especially after the changes, seem to have a lot of misconceptions about it. Like I've heard a couple people say the E does AoE, it applies shields in an AoE now. That's not true. And also people say, oh, the ult's worse now. Isn't the ult worse now? It does less damage. That's also not true. There's a lot of weird stuff, weird speculative stuff about the character that just isn't true. Trust me, guys. I was shocked at the changes as well. The nerf to his E, increasing the cooldown from 8 to 10 seconds, that is a massive deal. His whole playstyle pretty much revolves around this ability. Without it, your passive takes longer to build, you can't escape or engage properly, you can't shield an ally to save them. It's really noticeable and jarring for all the Fantastic players who played him before the update, leading to him getting a bad rap and just being shoved back down the tier list just as players were starting to figure him out, you know? Like, look at all these characters, guys, that people just haven't figured out yet, that are sitting at the bottom of the tier list here and there. You know, Wolverine was down there, Storm was down there, but these characters, guys, they have always been good. There wasn't some crazy buff that came through that broke them. These characters have pretty much always been pretty decent characters. I'm gonna just skim over his kit, some numbers and notable stuff, maybe some advanced tips as well. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna stick in there. So anyways, I do recommend sticking around, even if you are familiar with his kit already. I'm gonna be going over some extra things maybe. Starting with his left click stretch punch, his skinny mode has a punch range of 15 meters and deals 60 damage to every enemy you hit, whether that be 1 or 6. It also doesn't matter if it's on the first or last frame of the attack animation, because when you attack, you have this animation that comes out and it just stays there for a little bit, you know, and then it disappears. You get these no regs a lot of the time where you hear the sound, like you hear it hit, but it doesn't do any damage. It can be fairly common with his attack if you're not really using it properly. There's kind of like a certain speed to it sometimes, you know. Sometimes you can like do it a little bit too fast, or sometimes you'll just won't hit the target well enough, but it'll still make the attack sound. It usually happens when you swing too fast or don't hit the center of mass on your target well enough. And with the way the attack works, you can effectively pre-fire corners and hit enemies the first available frame they come into sight. Although situational, you can deal more burst damage to a target by hitting them with the last frame of one punch and the first of the next. It can come in handy sometimes, dealing a sudden burst of 120 damage opposed to doing 60, wait a little bit, and then another 60. Everything I just said applies to his inflated mode as well. Apart from that, attack has even more damage and attack speed, but you have under half your range that you do on your primary. Remember, your primary builds 5 of your passive per swing as well, so always try to keep that in the back of your head and keep an eye on your passive. Sometimes it might be worth missing a few punches whilst you get yourself into position, so you don't waste any uptime on your inflated mode or have to waste abilities to try build it back up. You gain 30 passive meter, elasticity for most of his abilities. You always need to keep an eye on the build up, because as much as your inflated mode can help you run down an enemy team, it can also be your demise and kill you, as when it activates, it locks you out of all of your abilities and makes you just a massive walking hitbox. But this passive is really the most important part of your kit. It is where almost all of your kill potential lies, and it is when Mr. Fantastic can pull off some of the most crazy shit imaginable.
This is so fun to play against, man. Your powers are mine. Us against the world. Let's put on a show. Us against the world. We are undefeatable.
What?
Wait, how?
That's my duo, what the fuck?
How did that happen, bro?
I don't know, he's cheating.
Why did my Mr. Fantastic just kill 3 with a punch? I'm confused.
He suddenly over doubles his already above average HP, gains 20% movement speed, and you can basically pressure everybody in your 7 meter attack range in this mode with 75 damage per swing. It may not sound like a crazy high damage number, but you know, you swing at intervals of 0.9 seconds in this mode. If you manage to hit 3 targets per swing, you're dealing over 225 damage per 0.9 seconds and creating just incredible amounts of pressure on the enemy team. Like, as a support, you're being attacked for 75 HP, your other support is being attacked with 75 HP, and probably, I don't know, a fucking DPS behind the Mr. Fantastic as well is getting attacked by 75 HP. You know, it can be a struggle. It's a lot of pressure. I personally play with 800 DPI and a sensitivity of 1.5. Sometimes you really want to be swinging with this character and doing 180s or fucking 360s to really maximize your damage and value. So if you play on a low sensitivity with a small mouse pad, I could see that kind of being a problem, but of course, only you know what sensitivity works best for you. A great Fantastic doesn't just suicide into the enemy backline every team fight. He actually does it every other team fight. And to achieve these results, you need the perfect usage of Flexi Rubber. Honest to God, one of the most insane abilities in the entire game. There is very little counterplay to this move, other than just either wait out the 3-second duration or burst it down and risk one of your teammates suddenly exploding with like 160 damage flying into your face. It grants you a 300 HP shield with 60% damage conversion, meaning whatever damage you receive, you'll just blast out into a projectile in the end of the ability. I've had some times where a rocket will ult and he'll amplify the damage of the reflection. You'll just blow up a whole ass character. The main use of this ability is getting yourself out of some of the worst, most imaginable, disgusting situations you could ever imagine, just scot-free. You basically get a free pass and all of the most annoying, most fucking frustrating abilities in the game. Think Jeff ult, Bucky ult, Strange, Mag. You have a button you can just press and just not have to worry about that shit. When you're in this ability, you're just immune to everything. It's crazy. If you have the Fantastic Four team up, use Reflective Rubber and then your team up straight after. You kind of like, it's almost like an animation cancel. And then after, you know, it'll just mean you have some extra shields to escape with. Another time I'll use the shift is actually to delay my transformation when you get to 100 passive build. This tech can be useful for a few situations, such as stalling time for your ability cooldowns or taking space without wasting any generated shields. And don't be afraid to actually just body block for your team when you need to. You're basically a Vanguard in disguise on Mr. Fantastic. The iconic Fantastic backshot. It builds your passive, it shields your allies, it shields yourself, it's your engage, it's your disengage, you can knock down flyers, it has a nifty AoE knockback effect, it pulls characters out of certain moves and animations similar to how Invis pull works. This ability is fucking nuts, dude. All this and only having 2 charges with a cooldown of 10 seconds can make it hard to manage this ability properly sometimes. It just has too many uses. If you don't use it thoughtfully and with intention, you'll often find yourself out of position with no way to get back to your team, and more often than not dead. Hard to hit characters can be whittled down very effectively with Mr. Fantastic, and your backshots can save your teammates from dives a lot. Remember, this move has knockback now, and if you backshot a teammate, quickly turn and face the diver, you'll knock them away and you'll just give your backline or whoever you targeted with your E a bit more space and a shield to escape with. Although being completely honest, Mr. Fantastic usually gets the most value when he's not stuck in his own backline but actually pressuring the other team's backline instead, being a diver himself. You leech off others' movement, friend or foe, and that's why Brawl and dive characters like Hulk and Magic synergize just so well with him. It's like a symbiotic relationship, you know? You get movement and they get a little bonus shield. It's kind of beautiful. Always try to time your backshots for Mr. Fantastic just before a movement ability, because there's this it's quite a specific timing, but if you do time it just right, you'll grab your target and you will fly through the sky with them. Say a Spider-Man swings or a Magic uses her E or something like that. Yeah, you just get dragged through the air with them. It's quite good. And if you're making aggressive backshots into the enemy front line to, you know, push them back, make some space, build your passive up, you can cancel your E into the shift to avoid getting instantly evaporated. You know, sometimes if you're like jumping into a Punisher shotgun, cancel your E into the shift and it will save you most of the time. But just be careful not to cancel it too early, because if you press E and then instantly shift, you don't even get the E goes on cooldown, but you don't even get the passive for it. It's crazy. Yeah, sometimes you can actually just cancel the ability so it does nothing. Distended Grip. What does distended mean? Swollen due to pressure from inside. Distended Grip. This ability is all about grabbing enemies and just fucking yanking them into a bad position. And you know, why not grab 2 people and just fucking slam them together? Or you know, why? I don't fucking know why. It's funny. goofy ass character. But seriously, when used alongside your backshots, you kind of become like a displacement god, you know, just fucking throwing people there, grabbing two people, throwing them over there, and then you just see another person, you know, backshot him, fucking throws him over there, and then fucking it's crazy. Honestly though, the best thing about this skill is that it does build your passive and is only on a 6-second cooldown. When you're in a bit of a pinch and you're desperate to get your passive off, don't even bother grabbing someone with this ability. Just use it at a wall or maybe at your feet or something like that. Using your ability like this is the fastest and most reliable way to get your passive off, and without wasting any time, you know, in animations for other abilities or something like that. The grab animation when you hit someone can stop you from transforming sometimes, causing a pretty avoidable death. So if you're healthy, you know, always go for the pull, but otherwise just use it to build up your passive. There's about a 3-second grace period before your passive starts degenerating. Use this move when out of combat to reset the timer and top your meter up a little bit, so when you actually get into a fight, you're always ready to just inflate, take space, you know, you got your strongest form just ready to go at all times. Now finally, let's talk about his ultimate. The ultimate had a pretty nice buff. The cost increase was quite significant, but honestly, it was kind of valid because the ultimate, it does kind of fucking slam people now, especially in the last few bounces. It will actually force out a lot of cooldowns, and if not an entire support ultimate, if the enemy just aren't ready for it. If you played Mr. Fantastic before the change, you understand how fast this guy could build his ult, and he still can build his ult pretty fucking fast. Always use his ultimate with the bonus shields from your passive active. You should never use your ultimate without your passive activated, so you have the bonus shields, because you will just die. Even if you activate the ultimate with just 1 second left of your passive, shields will stay with you for the duration of your ultimate. Mr. Fantastic is surprisingly killable in his ult. Despite what a lot of people seem to believe, he just blows up. Use it in a room with a low ceiling and the DPS fucking skyrockets. And I've killed cloaks through cloak ult before and like doing this shit. It's crazy. The most underutilized part of Mr. Fantastic's kit is actually the 10% slow debuff he applies per bounce to targets he hits. And so that means you got 6 bounces, you can do a 60% slow on the entire enemy team. It's very strong, either slowing everybody on like an objective or using it to bounce on a retreating enemy team, allowing your allies to catch up and just fucking run them down. One big tip for his ultimate is if your team is fighting in like a support ultimate and it may be an enemy support ultimate, use it before it finishes and try get 2 or 3 bounces off whilst the ult is still up, because people like, they won't really pay attention to it. You'll get 1, 2, 3 bounces off and then, you know, the ult ends and then suddenly you're in your second half of your ult, which is when it really starts to fucking slam people. Some matchups can be extremely oppressive for Mr. Fantastic. The main 2 that I always strive to be banned every game is number 1, Groot. Groot not only can completely shut down your gameplay by blocking you with walls that you just don't have the damage to deal with, but he also counters many characters that you want to play with, such as the Thing. The matchup can be okay at times if your team has the damage to break the walls and overpressure Groot, but it can be really tough. Now, of course, number 2, Namor. They're both just disgusting to play against. You know, Namor, especially with the Luna team up, Namor is probably one of the most oppressive characters in the entire goddamn game. Mr. Fantastic is a character all about tempo, and when you get a chance to run it down, you do it. And you just waste so much time dealing with the weirdly tanky blue squid. Why has that squid got so much HP, guys? Why has it got more HP than the regular squids? Why is 1 extra squid not enough? Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed the guide and found it useful, or at the very least entertaining. There's a lot more stuff about Mr. Fantastic I just didn't get time to talk about in the video, or just didn't quite make the cut. I had a really awesome comment in the previous video saying I should do a commentary over some of my gameplay. I didn't get time to do it in this video, but if that's something you guys would be interested in, I'll for sure do it in the future. Or just follow me on Twitch and come watch me live and I can show you there instead. Thank you guys for all the feedback and support on my previous videos. It really does motivate me to keep creating, and I'm having a blast doing it. Keep it real, everybody, but more importantly, keep it fantastic, y'all.